Welcome to Rewriting Real Estate, Millionaire Moves and Modern Tactics with your host, Kimberly Falker, a coach, mentor and strategist for agents who are ready to scale smarter. On this show, you'll learn from high-performing agents who are building their empires with innovation, intention and no apologies. Whether you're an experienced agent stuck at a plateau or a rising star ready to fast-track your success, this podcast gives you the real-world tactics, mindset shifts, and lessons learned from those rewriting the rules.
Hey, Krys, I'm so excited to have you on here. We've known each other for a bit, and we've met in person, and we've obviously been very actively involved online, but there's so much about you that is fun to talk about. So I'll try and focus on the real estate stuff first.
You're so sweet. I've been really looking forward to this, transparently.
Well, we both had a history in the world of trial law, legal world, and jump into a whole different world. It takes a long time to get your law degree and then get a job in law. So it's surprising and rare for those to do it. First of all, how'd you do it? Or how'd you decide to jump? But secondly, did your parents, like my parents, were like, really? All that and now this? So get a little background of that story.
Yeah, a little both actually. So my folks are in the industry, and if it was not for my folks being in the business, I don't think there's any chance I would have fallen into real estate. But truthfully, I think my family is from Egypt. My sister and I are first generation. And I think just being the product of an immigrant family, law school, medical school, some sort of graduate school is less of an option and more just the expectation. So my sister's a dentist. I have a lot of doctors in the family. I just felt like since I was a kid, I was going to be a lawyer, not really knowing what the hell that was even going to look like. Yeah, exactly. Really not knowing what that meant. It was just, this is the next thing I'm going to do. So when I finished law school and clerked for a judge so I could expose myself to everything like the law had to offer is when I settled on being a trial attorney, because I was like, I got to be that kind of guy. I want to be in a courtroom. This is my energy. This is my speed. So I was a public defender for years. Fast forward, I was a public defender. I meet my wife on a blind date. She is in medical school in Reno, where I was practicing. I was in Nevada. I went to law school in Vegas and then moved up to Lake Tahoe to practice law because I like to climb. But I go on this blind date with my now wife. She was starting her residency in Southern California. And, I just kind of knew I was going to marry the woman, and my folks are down here in the business. So it
and when
felt
you say
very
down here,
serendipitous.
for those that don't know, where's down here?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, I am in Southern California. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. The business aspect of it. Southern California. My office is in Norwalk, Southeast LA,
Okay.
but I live in Orange County, and I grew up in Orange County. So my wife was relocating to start her residency in San Diego. It did work out. It's like 100 miles south of where home base was in the business. And I just decided I would follow suit. And truthfully, I kind of just knew my whole life I was going to end up doing this or doing something related to it. Oh, yeah.
Was it like a hard leap of faith? Or I guess you walked into an existing business, which makes it a little easier.
It was a hard leap of faith in the sense of obviously not knowing what the day-to-day was going to look like. It was sort of still jumping into doing something that I didn't even know fully what that was going to look like. And then obviously it was a leap of faith to just transition to like be so active in my family's life. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Join a family business was sort of intimidating. But I think whether it's like familial guilt, my parents had built this business. We have an independent escrow company. My dad's our broker of record. I just couldn't see them closing up shop at some point. It just didn't feel right. So I joined them and it's been wonderful. I haven't looked back. The reason I think it was like I share the trial attorney part, or when you ask about that, is obviously I love the content so much of real estate. And that is, I think, what satisfies my sort of, I don't want to say legal mind, but the performance mind that I had when I was practicing. I think there's so many parallels between the law and real estate. Clients are clients, right?
It's true. Was there any ego because I had a moment of ego with breaking from something that, like, from the outside looking in, it's very prestigious. Oh, you're a
Mhm.
lawyer. And sadly, real estate agents don't get that same prestige. I mean, it's gotten better since I first was licensed, but
Oh,
it doesn't
100%.
stay in the parallel, that's for sure.
Oh, 100%. To be honest, I had like a brain fart a minute ago when you were asking me like the radical change. And that was really what was at the tip of my tongue that I couldn't find was if it wasn't the ego, it was just sort of the esteem that came along with it or people's perceptions. Because to go from someone's advisor or counselor or just to know what role I played to like do an activity of knocking on a door and somebody slamming it in my face was such a sort of and then you couple that well, now we're getting personal, but that's great. That's what makes this wonderful. But, you couple that with, my wife, who is a plastic surgeon, and then I scratch
Right.
my head to think, "Am I fucking excuse me, like, am I worthy?"
No, you're good.
But that's everybody in every business
It
probably
is. It
asking themselves
is.
those questions, right? And now I have not even just so much joy, so much pride, so and you always have it's moments of uncertainty, it's moments of feeling this way.
Mhm.
It's not
Mhm.
really knowing in your heart because growing up, watching my parents work as tirelessly as they did and provide so much for me. I lived such an abundant lifestyle. Like I lived such a good life. And that's because of what my parents did in real estate, right? So people that don't have the respect for us, those you pity them that
It's
knows
tricky
anything.
because you look at, like, the right to enter being a lawyer or a doctor. It's a lot. You have to do 4
Mhm.
years of college. You have to do 3 years of law school. And sadly, the right to enter real estate is a pretty broad spectrum. You have to be 18.
Right.
That's it. You don't even have to have a high
Yeah,
school diploma. So, that is a wide range. And so therefore, sadly, there are there's bad lawyers, bad doctors, but
sure.
there's a wider range of less than conscientious realtors. I can understand why there's a bad name, but I feel like over time, over the last 10 years for sure, with social media and the TV shows and everything, I feel like it's almost leveled us up more in an
Yeah.
industry.
I hope so. I mean, I certainly try to be mindful of it to an extent when I'm posting things, when I'm marketing myself, because I understand that to an extent we represent the industry collectively. Like the actions of each one of us individually do represent us as a whole. So I do try to be mindful of those things. I think ultimately, I want to believe that anybody, once they get to know the individual or like anybody that just is competent enough to know that there's so many different types of people in the game, you can't like put us all in that same category because
No,
people like yourself, we just have, you think of some of our colleagues, the most successful, the hardest working, the most intelligent. I mean, truthfully, it seems like a lot of people are doing real estate because they couldn't do anything else. But in the reality is like they could do whatever they wanted.
that's a
Like the
good
grit
point.
it takes to do this. It's like I did think about that, and I don't know if I thought that when I was practicing law, but as soon as, I began providing like a lifestyle or just the life selling houses, I was like, this proves to me you can make money doing anything. It's like, how do you
True.
want to make money? Right? Because real estate is like so much fucking work. Like
It is, it
so
is. So
much
when
work.
you first got started, how long were you or what year did you get licensed?
I got licensed in 2017.
Okay. How quickly after that did you focus on and the reason I brought you on is because you have a really amazing video first marketing strategy, but like I love that you've got a ton of creativity in it and, it's
Thanks.
you're willing to try new things
Sure.
and throughout your journey you've in social media or in video you've tried different things and I think that's part of the evolution, but at what phase of getting into real estate did you start putting video into it pretty quickly or
No. So when I first joined or got into the business, I was shadowing my mom and sort of playing a buyer's agent role, being in the field, showing houses, opening doors, going to inspections, and sucking it all in, sitting next to her at listing appointments. But I really was the right hand, allowing her to set more appointments while I was out like jockeying things. At the same time, Nehid was so ahead of the game. She was already making video content, right? Had been a disciple of Tom Ferry for years. My mom's been, one of the top producing agents in Southeast LA for the past 30 something years. So it's
That's
like I've had this,
amazing.
I mean, truly, if you have the opportunity to have a role model like that and you don't take advantage of it, it's almost like shame on you. And
Especially
to
when
an
it's your mom.
yeah, and especially with your mom. So true. If she would have been, I'm grateful she wasn't like a seamstress or something because I don't want to sew dresses, but
That's
she
not
just
a good
happens
role
to
model.
be, yeah.
It would be, but maybe not for you.
So she was so not forward thinking, but just coachable. And Tom was telling everybody to make video that she was already making video, but the struggle that she had was coming up with content and ideas. And as you might know, a lot of people don't realize this. They think you hire a video guy and suddenly you have content concepts. Suddenly you have hooks, scripts, and ideas and this and that. And you so quickly realize hiring a video guy means nothing other than
All they are is
somebody
the
to shoot the
cameraman.
exactly, right? And there's like a big gap. So my mom was having a struggle in wanting to create content, the video guy and all that. I stepped into the business and was behind the camera despite the energy and wanting to be like, despite like wanting to perform. Like I just started making up all her stuff, like writing all the
Aw.
ideas, writing the scripts, going to all her shooting days. And I did that for a
And
year
you
and a
weren't a
half.
part of it then. You
I
were
would
just
maybe make cameos if we scroll back, but no, I wasn't posting it. I wasn't
That's
like, there was
interesting.
no collab back then. I was just like production, and it was cool. I loved it. And then she took me to a rally probably at some point in that first year. And Tom was like talking about making videos. And I remember thinking, oh, I don't got no business. Nobody knows me as this. Like, I can make videos. So then I just committed to making one video a week. And truthfully, at that point in time, I wasn't comfortable. Let me say this. I didn't know where my comfort was because even though I, was in a courtroom, I didn't make videos. So it
Of
was
course not.
different.
Yeah.
It was just different. At the beginning, if you would go back, all I made was educational content. All I
Okay.
felt confident and comfortable doing was telling people information. And I've always felt really confident to be able to read something, synthesize it, and then communicate it back. Like we spend a lot of time, money, years training to like communicate. So if that's what I'm good at, then I would just make informational stuff. And then I did that almost for a year, just posting one video a week. I think I would post these things called knowledge drops on a Monday, maybe. I would record them on Sundays, post them on Mondays. I did that for probably maybe 8 months to a year, just one a week with that little muscle getting in the flow. And then after
When you
that,
did that, let's say somebody was just now starting, when you did that for the whole year, were you looking or hoping for something, or you just committed to it and didn't overthink it?
I didn't overthink it because most of the things in our business aren't these money making activities that are just like A to B result in 60 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Everything we do in this game is like do the work, let it grow, percolate, fail, let it grow. And then like 6 months later, maybe you have a result. Like even cold
It's no different
calling,
than going
like
to the gym, for goodness sakes,
it's
I want a new
identical.
bicep, and if you
Right.
quit after 3
Right.
months or 2 months, then
100%. And truthfully,
and
I
that's not the
didn't
pretty
see.
stuff either, right?
No. And I think that's actually where you build the resiliency. That's probably the piece that I pride myself in, or maybe why it's been interesting to see the industry. Because I haven't been in it for so long, but if I was in it full 18, so now this is 7 years. 7 years feels long enough for me to be able to reflect on something, right? And I've seen enough people come in and out, but the fruits or the results of showing up consistently on social media, at least for me, didn't really seem to pop off for 3 years, maybe 3.5 years. Like
Yeah,
I'm not
that
a
makes
success
sense.
story in that sense. You know what I
No, but it
mean? Like I
makes
was
sense.
never like
Like
a viral.
but to your point, if somebody were to do something, including myself, something at a minimum once a week
Yeah.
for 3 years, you will see a result. It's I'm trying it consistently really hard for 3 weeks and then nothing happens. So then I
And
take
then
3
putter out.
months off and then I start again. And that's the
Right.
tricky one, I think.
Well, I think that's where, and maybe this is part my just biology or the way that I'm hardwired is I don't like starting and stopping things. I'm
Mm,
very critical of being willy-nilly about shit, especially like in my relationships, just in life. So I was pretty intense about making one video a week. And after that 8 months or a year, I would have to look to see like when I started posting the content like daily. I made that decision and I was like, all right, you can do this. You built that muscle. You're going to start showing up 5 days a week. And then I drew that line in the sand. And I drew that line in the sand, I don't know, 6 years ago. And I haven't looked back. And I pretty much haven't missed 5, 6 multiple posts a day, a week, unless I was on my honeymoon or I was on Mount Everest. I've been pretty like consistent about it. And truthfully, when you fall off the wagon, like fitness, if I don't post or something, it's easier to get on it because I built that muscle. You know what I mean?
right,
When I
right.
post something and it flops, I could care less. I built the muscle. Like when I post something and it kills it, I could care less. I built the muscle, right? And I'm a product of coaching. I believe in the stats. So when I look at the numbers and I see where the business is coming from, I try not to get caught up in all that shit because
That's super
I've
smart.
done it.
That's super smart because too often people get either motivated or completely shut down because of the numbers. I
You
mean, it's
know,
good
you
to
have to
track information, but not be, to your point, it doesn't matter. Just keep doing
correct.
it. You know?
You have to be aware of it so that you can make adjustments and make it better, but you can't let it dictate the yes or no of doing the action. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
It's no different than
That
going back to fitness. If you're trying to lose
right,
10 pounds, if you measure your weight every single day, there's going to be such
right,
weird fluctuations that could make you motivated or make you completely depressed.
right.
But if you stick to it for 6
Exactly.
months or a year, you will get the result. And your
And
little ups and downs.
and that's why it's important for you to be measuring things. It's important to be like tracking things. So when you know that the deal comes from wherever, like, this person Instagram, this person sent them my Instagram or whatever, you can begin to find peace in when you post a video and you didn't get any DMs because it's like the law of averages. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like it's
true. That's
just
true.
you make this many phone calls, you set this many appointments, you post this many pieces of content, like you get so I
Yeah.
think
No, that makes
um
sense. So when you do make a commitment, or when you did
yeah,
make a commitment, have you switched over time kind of your cadence? Do you plan it out? Do you
yeah,
do it in block, or are you more obviously if you have somebody filming for you, but pretend you didn't, like, or wait, going back to how far in
yeah, no,
advance and how long do
totally.
I think
I
that's
was
where a lot of people
more
get out of the loop or
right.
out of cadence is where I don't know what to say. I don't know. I've already done it 5 times. I don't know what to do.
I was more disciplined and had more of a consistent filming cadence when I was outsourcing all the video stuff. In 2022, I made the business decision to bring in-house a videographer because when I did the math on how much we were spending on our listings, on my mom's content and on my content, it justified a salaried employee. And then it allowed me just to create at like such a greater scale because
Oh
this
yeah.
guy's in the office with me. So it's awesome. Like I get so much luxury that I know most don't. But at the same time, I've made certain business decisions to provide for that. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Agents are notorious to spend money on bullshit, and
Oh
all of
yeah.
that adds up. So yeah, I brought it in house, and that's like a numbers game. So I think there's a lot of top producing agents that could even look at their business and consider like how many listings do I do every year? How much does it cost me to get like my photos and video done? And then what does it look like to bring somebody full time on?
Mhm.
Um, to answer your question as far as how I used to approach it in the past, this was like the only way I could do it. And it was very effective for years. I would have a time on the calendar, and oftentimes, because I'm a human, it would be literally the night before. I would sit down. Yeah, it's the freaking truth. Doesn't matter because like I have these guys booked for the next day. Like I have a shoot day. The money is being paid. It's been paid.
So you would
So it's like,
hire out an outside. This is before you had somebody on your in your
yeah, exactly.
employment. You would hire a random videographer for something.
Yeah, I found them
Okay.
through social media, just the way that I think a lot of people have people in their networks, they're just not really thinking. I went to high school with
Good
a
point.
couple guys that were making music videos. They were making funny videos, like prank videos. I could see that they had talent and they were artistic based on the edits and the pace of the video. I knew them because I went to high school with them. I hadn't seen them in 10 years, but I'm a real estate agent. Like, I'm not scared to hit them up. I said, I like this stuff. I want to make content. You guys want to work together.
Oh, I love that.
It was a match made in heaven. It was like, what? Oh, for years, they came with me to the Tom Ferry Summit and filmed everything. Like, it was just it really is what like catapulted it. And I would pay them for 2 shoot days a month. And in those 2 days, we would film as much as I could film.
Okay.
And it wasn't like as much as I could film, show up and fucking waste their time filming my feet. Like, no, like film, like we had ideas and concepts. Like I would show up with a list of video ideas. These are my scripts. These are what we're going to do. I would show up. I would go through my ideas with them. We would pick the locations and get creative because we're doing this in my house. We're doing this at the office. Like this isn't like production shit. Come on. Like, I'm jumping out of trash cans and stuff. We're just shooting things that we have around us. And
how'd you come up with your ideas?
the inspiration is all around us, Kim. I think people
True.
are so limiting in what they believe is creative or what they're willing to try. We have to scroll through social media with the intent of gleaning some ideas because constantly we'll be like overloaded with these sensory things and you're just like, that's so creative or cool, but we just let it go into the ether. You have to make the conscious effort to save it. You got to make the conscious effort to send it to somebody, do something, copy paste it to a notepad so you can bring back those concepts. And the more you are doing it, the more creative or the more ideas that you get. It's that action of just, it's easier. It's fitness. It's easier to lift weights when you've been lifting weights.
Yeah.
It's just, it just is. And that's also the real estate thing. So many agents, and this is bad because obviously like video is so sexy, but I think a lot of people have lost sight of what the point of the video is, right?
Right.
It's to be selling houses.
Right.
So I think another piece of the struggle, as respectfully, is if you're not doing real estate shit, of course you're not going to get real estate ideas. The ideas are birthed in like the consultation when your buyer doesn't know what escrow is, you know what I'm saying? Or like drops the pen and farts. Like you never get the opportunity to get the fart joke if you never have a buyer consult. You see what I'm saying? And I think but it really just goes back to being intentional. So I would have things saved that I would revert back to. I would go to Yahoo News, CNN News, Fox News. Like I didn't give a shit what news. I would look for anything housing related. This is pre-ChatGPT. And I would just think if it's good enough to be a headline, it's good enough to be a video. And then I would just do my best to write a script of it, right? The video's talking about home prices going down. Okay, down, trash. Let me jump out of a trash can and say prices are crashing. I'm truthfully like I know,
that's fun.
That's what it was. That's all it was. And I would write the ideas. I would film them all in one day with the boys. They would then take a couple weeks to edit all of them. And then I would get a folder of like 15 videos. And it was up to me to publish them. And then I would just set myself a little schedule of the posts and I would write the captions. When I was really ahead of the game, I would write all my captions so it was fast, like they're all pre-written, ready to go. And as I've gotten lazy or life happens, I'm kind of coming up with the captions that same day and whatnot. It's challenging because like when I wasn't doing as much business, I could like do more on the fly. But then as like we do more real estate, I have less opportunity to do stuff on the fly. So if it's not planned, it falls through the cracks. And I'm really struggling with that balance because I love the media and the marketing, but I got to sell houses and I'm just like, fuck, I want to post this on my story.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
I really got to
get
call
so
the
caught
seller
up
because
in
he's the
the
important
rabbit
one.
hole of social media that like you're forgetting what you're supposed to do social media for. And I think that's what a lot of agents that I've interviewed have spoken about, finding the balance between both and spending the time and keeping your eye on the price, because social media is sometimes more fun than dealing with some of the production stuff. But production is what we're doing this for. Now, how do you
Right.
weave in with all of that, even now, or even back then, actual like listing videos? Because all of that is content to keep you relevant and answer questions and maybe find more business. But when you have a listing video, that obviously can't be on the fly.
No, so like year to date, I have to look at the list, but I think we've done like 31 listings, my mom and I. Before, if I do the numbers, when we were doing less, I felt like I could, how would I say this? As we got busier, it was important for me to systemize things. So now with every
Yeah.
single listing, I have a Monday board or a listing board that we are getting the same content at every single listing. It's like
Okay.
non-negotiables. I get this kind of video, this kind of video, this kind of video. And then I'm responsible for coming up with a few creative ones. But for the most part, it's very like systemized.
Systematized. Yeah. Yeah.
Because at scale, and it's not at scale, it's like I'm not doing like hundreds, but like I don't have that many resources. I have a team of support, but there's that's the capacity. So at that number, I needed like more of the system. So I'm still coming up with a handful of creative ideas, but it wasn't like before where every video was like unique. Now every video gets like a numbers house tour breakdown. Every house gets like a 360 walkthrough. Every house gets like an open house teaser. I've just created a formula for what I want to capture for every house. And
That
then
makes
what
sense.
also
Yeah.
along with that, what print marketing goes with it. That's coupled with how much we're getting paid. So not on every single listing am I doing the same type of print marketing. That's based on what the like package they hired us for. Just as much systemizing of all that to avoid issues.
What percentage would you say, or do you know, of your business comes from your social media presence at this point, do you think?
Yeah, so for one number in like 2024, I did 12 million in agent to agent referrals, like 12 million in volume from agent to agent referrals.
That's a lot.
That I can point. Yeah, it's not bad. Like I'm
Like you
grateful.
giving and taking, or mostly
Oh,
just people sending
just
to you? Okay.
I should track how much I get from sending. That's not in
Yeah.
that. Like that's just my what I track in like what we've closed and like where the source was from in 2024. But I should look at that. I don't know how much I sent out in volume.
And that's because there's a ton of agents that follow you and are a part of your world. Why somebody, like if I had a client moving to your area of California, I would think of you first. And when you say agent referral, that's somebody like me that knows
Right.
somebody that's moving to your area, and I want to send them to somebody that's going to be a great fit. And so I would think of you. So that's when you say 12 million of agent to agent referrals is, I guess California prices are higher than a lot of areas, but it's still a decent amount of closings.
Yeah, my median price point is like gone up. It is probably about prices have gone down maybe just under 900,000.
Okay.
So I have the calculator. Separate from that, a lot of the business, like most agents, especially because my mom has been in it for so long, is the sphere and the database.
Yeah.
Those people are following us on social. So the thing about social is, or the thing about real estate, and this is like coaching 101, it's about conversations. So it don't matter where you're talking to people so long as you're talking to people. So even when I'm posting a silly video that has nothing to do with real estate and I'm just, I don't know, doing something dumb, but my client comments on it, that's my opportunity to engage and reignite a conversation with the person I sold their house 4 years ago. Like
Right.
I'm in
Right.
more communication with my sphere than most because I'm showing up where they spend time.
True.
I don't believe every piece of social media content is valued the same, right? Like, if the goal for me is not to be like social media famous, the goal for me is to use my platform to accomplish like the goals that I have. So if I am a listing agent, I'm getting hired because I can like get attention on somebody's place. Part of that is like my social media, right? So I think that it's important, and that's part of like what I say in my presentation is we are actively marketing houses. Like we are preparing marketing for your house to be ready for sale for at least 3 months in the and I'm actively marketing a house, even the shitty house. Like, go look at the one that I just posted. Place is not the kind of like desirable, like I'm not selling only those kind like those aren't all my kind of listings. I wish.
But it's nice that your clients get the same special attention as anybody, which I think
Oh, are
that's
you?
so important.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, people are people, and I've just always treated my business.
Hmm.
I guess I'm treating my business differently now because I have kids, and my time is feeling a bit more like
True.
limited, but I just love real estate and deals. So like I got a $2.5 million listing. I have a $400,000 listing. I don't care. Houses
Right.
are houses. And I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that soapbox, but I want to be updating my clients with us marketing their house. So every week I will like update my clients. If I'm not marketing their house, I don't have much to update them on other than what's going on in the neighborhood, new closings,
That's a
new
good point.
pendings, or
Yeah.
whatever. So it's like part of my job every single week on Monday or on Friday is what's the plan for the following week? What listings are active? And what do I need to do so that I have something to update them with at the end of the week?
I love that. I love that. So for agents that want to break into social media, I know that the circles that we're around, it seems like everybody's already doing amazingly well. I think that there's still a lot of people that either just got licensed or just know that it's a good thing to do. What would you be your starting point suggestion for that?
On social specifically,
Hmm.
I think if I was beginning brand new, and I do plan to actually, like, I should just start it. But I think the approach is the hyper local aficionado. I think the approach is how to most organically weave your life, what you existing do day to day, into your social media to share people, to be like the biggest advocate of where you're at. And it'd be effortless because it's like
Right,
where you
right.
live and then sprinkle in real estate. Because like as I see what performs and what gets conversations started, like personal stuff crushes, right? That's why people like
True.
people talk about pets, like personal life always crushes.
Storytelling crushes.
Sto- totally. And I just think you can just tell such good stories about your community. And the listing, like the just listed, is the punch to the jab that we're not throwing enough.
That's a good point.
And the
Yeah, I
jab
like
jab is
that.
like just the value, the personal stuff, the non-salesy, just, come here, be entertained, be inspired.
And to your point, the personal stuff I think is so important because you do such a nice job of weaving in your personal stuff, which means when somebody, whether it be an agent referral or a new client that calls you, they already feel like they know you. They already
Right.
know that you have two little ones. They know that you're super into climbing. They've learned that
Right.
you've climbed Mount Everest, which I still think one of my favorite little memories with you is talking to you when you were on the mountain from
That was
whatever
pretty
the
cool.
sat phone in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
It's
I
an amazing thing.
It's not easy to let me say, actually, this is like a better way to sell it. In 2025, with people being so savvy and their attention span being so short, I feel like we need to Jedi mind trick people into knowing what we do without forcing it down their throats. So even, and I don't mean this like I'm pimping out my family, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't mindful of what I was sharing and how I thought it represented me and
Hmm.
what I thought it was saying to the world about the way that I carry myself and take care of my family. And even with the climbing. So I think it's like, for example, I put out a personal video the other day of a morning with my kids. And that morning, which is the truth, I am launching a property. So there are clips of the MLS in this house. But the story is about my morning with the kids. But real estate is my life. And I think when you can, and that's why AI is so great, because if you can't think of that yourself, tell ChatGPT to be like, this is my routine. How do I incorporate real estate into it? But when I began to think about how I weave it into everything I'm doing, that is when I feel like it got more fun or more engaging for people, or when I felt
Good
like
point.
it was this conversation. I
Now,
hope
are
that's
you
helpful.
still on a strategy of a certain number of posts, or do you do it less,
I would post
scheduled? Or like, do you
if
still
I
try and do something every day, or what's your
yeah,
plan
I
now?
mean, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, typically, definitely, like, when we're hosting open houses, I'm definitely showing up to try to promote those on the weekends. I do try to take a day off, which has been typically Sunday, but it's tough if you're trying to, like, promote an open house. But I do try to, like, get off of the platform for one day entirely to just feel a little bit refreshed from it, because it can be
Yeah.
exhausting to be always feeling like you're in Instagram or wherever you're spending time. But my cadence is pretty much every day of the week. And truthfully, that's not true. 5 or 6 days of the week, I wish I was posting like 3 times a day. I mean,
Oh,
I'm pretty
really?
active on my stories. Oh, yeah.
So
I'm of the
when you
mindset
say
like of Gary
posting daily,
Vee.
you're talking about in your feed or on your stories or
Both.
both? Both.
Yeah,
Okay.
both. So you'll find like at minimum one wall post a day.
Okay.
And that's a variety of carousels, reels.
And
I mean,
again, do you plan
truthfully,
that, or is that a little bit
yeah.
more? Okay. You
So
plan that
what's
weekly, monthly, or what's your?
weekly?
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much every Friday or Monday, the number one thing that I'm focused on is what listings are active and what days need do I need to schedule things, and what marketing collateral do we have? And if we don't have any, what do I need to make so that every listing that's active is being promoted at least once? And
Okay.
that's going to be either in an email, on a Instagram post, on an Instagram story, on a Facebook carousel, on somewhere for me to be able to send something to my seller that says, this is what went out there that week. This is the engagement we had on it. And this is what's going on in the neighborhood. These are the
Outside of
showings
that,
we had.
where's your creative, like kind of outside of the listing focused stuff?
Yes.
I mean, do you
So
plan like a family post, or do you plan a random
that's kind of
personal thing?
yeah. So the random personal stuff is where I struggle the most. So despite me knowing that my family is what crushes, it lends up on my stories a lot, which is great because I get a lot of engagement there, but not so much on my wall because I am not so planned in curating it. And that's my fault. So what you'll
Mm-hmm.
typically find me on my wall, because I'm making it and planning it beforehand, is like humorous, entertaining videos related to real estate that are for buyers and sellers, but oftentimes for real estate agents. I put out a lot of educational stuff for the general like community buyers and sellers, but also agent to agent education stuff. Um, and beyond my listings, that's pretty much it. Like those are my buckets. It's like personal, which I could get better at, my listings, education, humorous, like entertainment. And then if I didn't say education, then like local stuff. Anytime I do business spotlights, that's kind of like where I'm always living.
I love it. Now, out because of your social media, you've elevated now, spoken on stages, and now you're part of BAM Media, which those that don't know what it is, tell a little bit about it and what your role is in that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I love people and I love communicating, like, I just love it's fun, and because of the content, I mean, truthfully, it was because of the content and just showing up so incessantly that I got an opportunity to speak at the Tom Ferry Summit, and then from that, it birthed other opportunities, and I just really believe if you keep doing something or if you enjoy it, it's easy to keep doing it. I think that's the truth. So it's like if social media is such a drag, there's no problem with that. I don't think you should swim against the current and try to
Right.
show up 5 days a week. I really don't. I think you should do like the bare minimum, get somebody to help you do some basic shit to at least have a presence so that when somebody looks you up, you don't look like a serial killer with like no Instagram or no Facebook or no Google business or like you have to at
You
least be
you have to
present.
exist.
You have to exist. Exactly. Like you have, especially because sellers and consumers are savvy enough to know that it's a way they leverage business. So whatever, you have to exist. But if
I
you
don't
don't
care if you're
want
going
to
to get your
do
nails done or your ears pierced, you're going to look up the person that you might be getting it
ex-
done with. So if they don't
right,
exist,
exactly.
then
There's question marks. That's almost worse than if it's bad. You have to find some piece of the business that you get satisfaction out of. And my
mm-hmm.
mom, like my mom is, she's born in 63, so she's 60, 63. I don't know, 60 something. She loves being on the phone.
She's so good on video, though.
She's great on video. She's great on video, but she don't like hanging out on social media. My mom
She likes
does
being on
what
the
I
phone.
tell her to do on social media. My mom takes great direction. Mom, say this, film this. It's gonna be funny. Okay, no problem, son. And she does it, right? But she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't like coming up with ideas. She doesn't want to.
Yeah.
It's just not what she
Yeah.
wants to do. What does she want to do? She wants to call people. That's what
Aw.
she's doing right now. She's in this little room. She's like 2 offices behind the little call booth, just on the phone. So you got to find joy in some piece of it. And then in whatever piece of the business you find joy in is what you have to allow pour into the other pieces of the business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The soul sucking stuff.
Yeah. So going back, what is BAM and what's your role there?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was doing a lot. My role is just more agent education stuff. I had a community before joining BAM where I was really just sharing truthfully
Ideas.
what I was doing. Well, ideas, and it was sort of my way of organizing everything I was doing in my own business. So it's like if I launched a listing, I had all these postcards or flyers or carousel posts or real ideas. And I was like, I'm losing it every time I get a new listing. It's like not organized. So that's when I said, no, I need to organize it within a library. So I started organizing it, thinking I was going to bring agents in-house. And then I was like, well, let's just start like giving it out to people. And that's when I joined BAM. So
Well, shoot, if you teach it, you get better at it. So I'm sure your business has gotten better because of it.
Business has been pretty good, and I'm very grateful because it's so hard, but like bring it on. Like if it wasn't hard,
then it gets boring.
Everybody would be doing. Yeah, and I almost feel like life, it's not hard forever. So it's like we're getting beat up right now because we had it so good a couple years ago.
Oh, good
so
point.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like go ahead and like tussle me around a little bit right now.
Or probably like your mom who's been around the block or myself who's been around the block. We've seen, it's just cyclical. I mean, I remember, not that this is a random side thing, but I remember when my kids were little and I took this little parenting class, but the teachers, equilibrium, disequilibrium. So when you're having a great day, don't get cocky and think I'm the best parent. But when things are melting down, know that it's going to cycle back. But it's the same thing in real estate, same thing in life. It's don't get cocky that you're the best agent under the sun back in the unicorn days. But also right now, don't feel like you suck because it's really hard. And right now, if you're not super busy, then it's the best time to lean in and learn skills that aren't fun to learn, because when you're busy, you don't have the time to learn it. So it's like that equilibrium
100%.
and disequilibrium side of life, really.
And it applies to every facet. I've shared that before. Bruce Lee has that saying. He's like, I never get too happy when things are good, but I never get too sad when things are bad. Be like the water. And it's the truth. You really do have to go with the flow of things in every aspect because it's so fluid. And it's just, once we're used to this challenging market and this like interest rate climate, it's going to change again.
Oh, it totally will. Before you know it.
Exactly.
And now, like Tom Ferry says, build your whatever the word's called. It's called build
reserves.
Your reserves, or build your pipeline so that when it hits, you've got them going. So I've also seen on your social that you're something to do with Zillow. What's that about?
Oh my God. I think I can talk. The power
Are you allowed
of
to
social
talk about it?
media?
You don't know?
I think so. I am a Zillow partner as a result of just like being active on social media and putting myself out there. It was just an opportunity that presented itself. And truthfully, I got an email from Zillow. No, I'm sorry. I got an email from a third party that I thought was spam. And it said, hey, we're interested in you to do this campaign with Zillow. Send us what the cost would be and, you know, what your ideas are. And truthfully, I took a screenshot of it. I sent it to Joaquin, my video guy, and I sent it to Floor, somebody that helps me manage some of the social media stuff. And I said, you guys think this is fake? You think this is spam? And they're like, yeah, it looks fake. But because I'm just a weirdo, called the number at the bottom.
That's smart.
And was like, and I couldn't believe it. She picked up the phone and I was like, is this Katie? She's like, yeah. I was like, on it. I was like, well, this is Krys, and I don't really know what to say because I was convinced this was going to be like somebody in Bangladesh, but I just wanted to see if, you know, the Zillow thing was real. And sure enough, it was. So we've just done a handful of campaigns together, and they've been super cool to work with, despite sort of the reputation they have in our industry. I really feel like Zillow, especially because the consumer loves them so much, we have to find a way to like play nice in the
Oh,
sandbox,
yeah, 100%.
like
I
play
think
nice
that
in.
it's so fun because the whole the reason why I ask about all this is because, like, you've had some unique opportunities between speaking, joining BAM, Zillow, that would not have come if you did not do the reps on video and just put in the time. And,
Oh,
like,
100%.
many
It's
people that, again, comes
relationships.
and goes, "Oh, I'm trying, it's not paying off, so I'm gonna quit it for a year, and I'm gonna come back." But, like, making a commitment to the consistency will show up in something. Not everybody's going to get the same opportunity as you have
Right.
or the same numbers. Some people will do it every single day for the rest of their life and only have 2,000 followers. That might be the case. You still, if you have 200 views on your video, picture a room of 200 people, that's still not so bad. And it's better than not doing it. And it's free. So,
Right, 100%. And even when you think about these like levels of influence, like it's good to draw attention to the 200 because those are still 200 willing, able like buyers. And it's all relative. You know what I'm saying? Like even me, I feel like such a little peon when I think about the other creators or agents or influencers that people like Zillow work with. You know what I mean? Like
right,
they got
right.
some shit with Ryan Serhant. I'm not fuck like you.
Yeah, well, you
I'm
could
not at
like
the place in
compare
my
your,
career to
yeah,
be. Yeah, like I'm
right.
not Ryan Serhant yet. But that's where the relative thing is. Is like I'm not getting in my own way because like I'm not here to compare myself against Ryan Serhant. I'm trying to
That's
be
like that
better.
saying of you would be comparing your chapter 10 to Ryan's chapter 25, and it's unfair because he's put
Right.
in the reps for that many more years in a whole different way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's just but that's how we get in our own way, and that's how we falter and fail and quit. And I think that I
Right.
love hearing the unique successes or unique opportunities that you had that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And I
Oh,
think that
hosts. I could
I
give
love
you
it.
liter, I do so much, and this is all a product of the content, you know. And it's like these conversations and these conversations that have all been birthed on the internet. And as agents, we can get creative because we have a platform. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I had a wonderful partnership with Habitat for Humanity. I still
Oh,
do. I do a lot with Habitat for Humanity, and as a result of like an alliance, I was staging homes in LA. Habitat has wonderful stores with like some really nice stuff. I'm talking about stuff that's like donated from Adele, so you can get some really nice things. And because of social media, I was being able to provide my clients real value in free home staging because of my relationships. You know what I'm saying? Because of Zillow, I get to give my clients Zillow Showcase stuff
that's
that other
huge.
agents like. It's huge, right? Because I'm putting myself out there. So I think it's like being bigger picture thinking, but you really only get there if you enjoy it, you know? And that's not even to say the host of like, I've done tons of business profiles. So I can't say that it's worth it for that. But like, I've sold 2 homes of business of restaurants that I've profiled of like the owners, right? Because it's all
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
relationships.
yeah, it is
You know what I mean? It's
relationship.
like that.
But
That's why
to
I
your
think the
point
pod.
about doing it if you enjoy it, I hesitate in some ways on agents that are a little nervous or haven't started because it's like going to the gym. You don't love it until you see a
Yeah.
little bit of success. And you can't have success if you don't do the reps. So I think that, and I'm speaking to myself
Mhm.
too, because I'm nowhere near where I know I could be or want to be, but I can also look to myself no different than if I don't have the triceps that I really want. I can say it's
Right.
because of not doing the reps that I should do right now.
Right.
And I think that it's you might not love it for 3 months, 6 months. You might not. But I think that it's like cold calling. Not many people
Right.
love it.
Well,
It's like door knocking. There's not a whole lot of stuff in this business that everybody loves.
totally. I guess what I would say to that though is it's like the flow state. You have to let yourself get in the flow state enough to accomplish it and see if you like it. But I do feel like I wouldn't say I'll say this. You can't be in it long enough. You have to be in it long enough to give yourself opportunity to see results. But even cold calling, like I don't think it should take 6 months of cold calling to figure out you want to blow your brains out. I think
Right,
pretty
right.
early on,
I
people
agree
will
with
figure
that.
out. that they're
Yeah.
into it or not into it.
That's
And I
true. Because my
think,
business partner, she tried it. She's like, nope, not doing it. Even though she's
but
stunningly gorgeous and she's very articulate. I'm like, oh my gosh, why aren't you?
it's just, and that's okay. Timing is a big piece, is like people's
is.
timings are different of when they want to expose themselves to it. And the other thing that I guess to touch on, like you need like the win to do it, is
Yeah.
what we identify as the win, right? Because for me, especially early on, the win, or why I was like continuing to do it, is because I said I have to just show up and do it. So I would
Well,
like
that's
do the
it. That's why I feel like if you attach it, like you got to love it, because like 99% of the time you don't love going to the gym until you start seeing the results, then you love it, you know?
Right. But that's where I think there's dimensions to this. Like you're never going to be
true,
a world-class bodybuilder if you don't like going to the gym. So
True.
don't
That's a
try
good
to
point.
be like, so that's where
That's
it's, so if you
Find
don't
your
like
Zumba
social,
instead.
exactly. If you hate social media, you need to be the person who does 20 minutes of walking every day and does 10,000 steps base just to stay alive and be healthy and make it alive for your grandkids type of shit. You know what I mean? And that would be the equivalent of making sure you have a profile, posting at least once or twice a week so that there's
Right.
something more recent when somebody searches you and it's not like 56 posted.
Because I feel like the people need to see, if they're going to search you, they need to see that you're in the business. And so I tell all agents that I coach all the time, I'm like, at the very minimum, do a walkthrough of a house, film it, stand in front of the house and say, what does $700,000 get you in the city? I said, then you've got 10 seconds of your face. Everything else is not you. But if people don't see that you're in houses, they don't trust that you are working.
Sell house.
Honestly.
100%. 100%. And then you're the ultra pro bodybuilder or whatever other aspect of the business. Like, you know, Josh Rubin out of New York?
Yeah.
Super killer agent. Like I think he sells more than Ryan Serhant even or some shit. But that guy is like the king of direct mail. His social media is not that great. Like, I would say that to his face. But the dude has been sending direct mail for 100 years and he crushes it. And I think it's because he loves it and he's figured it out and he's got a formula and he enjoys it enough to trust that he spends
That's a good point.
$60,000 a month. You know, it's like outrageous amounts of money to do what he does.
Right.
But there's
and people aren't doing that anymore.
Yeah.
But it's not free, whereas social media is free.
Right. Very true. Yeah. Minus the time piece.
Minus the time period. But Gosh, Krys, you're amazing. I'm so grateful that you came on. I do love to ask one question to everybody.
Please.
If you tomorrow had to move into a new city, a new market, you know nobody, your mom's not there, your family's not there, you have no sphere, but you had to scale as quickly as possible, what would you do?
I would pick the neighborhood that I want to dominate. Do some research, talk to a title rep, pick the neighborhood that I want to dominate, preferably one that I live next to. I would look for a nice house, desirable, not selling for whatever reason, but nice in the sense of where it's located. It's visible. It's visible. And I would host an open house every day for like weeks at the same house that it was available. And then I would go to another house and then I would do that again. And then I would go to another house in the same neighborhood so that everybody knows who I am because I'm doing all these open houses. And through that, promoting those open houses, knocking on them, making the content about them, I would become the chief in that little market.
I love that.
And I would host opens. I would not sit in an office. I would make phone calls out of an empty open house because they're empty a lot of the times. And I would make content. I'd make content about my open houses. I make content about the community.
I love that because I'm a huge fan of open houses. And I think that's one of the fastest ways to, it's like I say, people nowadays, especially compared to many years ago, if they're in an open house, they're way further down the funnel because you can see so much online. So if they're in the car driving into an open house, you have a greater chance. And within our settlement, you don't have to have anything signed. So you can immediately build so outside of being experienced in the neighborhood, you actually are building
100%.
a group of potential clients pretty darn quickly without having to go through all the hoops.
Right. I would also join some sort of club or organization.
Oh, that's smart.
I would also embed myself pretty quickly in like the pickleball club or the yacht club if I was into that. Or it's funny because I really like rock climbing. Rock climbers aren't like people with the deepest pockets, but but truthfully, like
Pickleball's pretty good.
Pickleball's pretty good. That's where I'm going with it, is if you can be somewhere to build deep relationships with people and an organization like Habitat, and I'm not doing it for business. I love Habitat, but I've done a lot of business with people that are involved in Habitat.
Yeah, I
I just
love it.
happen to be there.
Well,
Like, you
it's
know what I mean? So
people
it's like,
that are connected plus people that believe in houses and good cause. And I mean, it all ties together.
well, and it's
I
just
love
like
that.
connections, you
Yeah,
know? So it's
yeah,
like if you're in a baking, just like be around, like where are the bakers? Or if your kid's in gymnastics, like you're probably gonna start selling houses to like your
yeah,
kids' friend's mom.
yeah. You're coming up to the best years when your kids are little. It's really,
I
I
better
love
be
those years
selling.
of connections.
I believe it. You're so right. At the playground and stuff.
Oh my gosh, all the little
Yeah.
teams they're gonna be a part of.
Gosh,
You got a
I'm
few
not
years
ready.
though. You got a few
Yeah,
years.
they're coming. Thank you
Krys,
for having
thank you
me.
so much.
Thanks for listening to Rewriting Real Estate. If today's episode challenged your thinking or gave you a strategy worth trying, share it. The right move at the right time can change everything. Subscribe and listen in next week for more insight, more momentum, and more ways to grow your business your way.